I wasn't planning on doing videos like the Tyler Perry set that I did, you know, but when that topic did come up and I had to address it, you know, something in me just wouldn't let me, you know, half step with that. So, you know, I had to, you know, really go in on that one.
It made me reflect on my current annoyance with black folks over analyzing or debating about anything the next Negro person does, say, or do.
I actually thought it was kind of funny that you would, you know, open up your video with that statement when in actuality making your video response you were analyzing and debating something that I said or did.
What's up with that, Negro?
Anyway, let's get it.
Non-blacks have seemed to figure out the STFU method in order to gain their own success. But somehow the Negro people struggle with mastering the same concept.
As far as what you just said about how black people don't really follow that method, I actually have to beg to differ. You know, in actuality, you know, most of the time black people do STFU. Most black people do not stand up and say anything about anything that should trouble black people. We pretty much just go with the flow and look for acceptance, and in looking for that acceptance we realize that, yo, we do have to STFU or else we'll be seen as the disagreeable Negro. So, you know, I really don't agree with that statement. Yes, you know, there are those of us that do stand up and say things, especially since the advent of this forum, YouTube, you know, there are those of us that will speak out against things that we see that we feel disgruntled about, you know. But for the most part, the majority of black people, we go with the flow. Why? Because we don't want to be seen as that troublemaking field nigga that is going to go against anything that the establishment puts out. And, you know, that is also why we'll accept movies that are made that are detrimental to black people and simply say, well, you know, at least we get to see some black people on the screen. You know, it's better to see them in negative roles than to not see them at all. And, you know, once again, I beg to differ. I would rather not see any black movies than to have to see black movies that are showing and depicting black people in a predominantly negative light. I mean, obviously, no image is gonna be better than a bad image. I mean, that's just common sense. But once again, we just STFU and go with the flow. And those of us field niggas who do stand up and make noise, we're seen as the troublemakers. And the people that are going with the flow, you know, they're the ones that come to us and say, you know, stop talking so loud. Master gonna hear you. You gonna get us in trouble. I mean, come on, man. Y'all need to wake up. When people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X will voice their opinions and concerns about black treatment in America, did most of the black population feel as though those two Negroes needed to adopt the STFU policy? I wonder. And yeah, as far as the little flag thing,
the LBGT rainbow flag did not become popularized until 1978, 4 years after Ms. Intisaki wrote her life story and turned it into a play.
You know, obviously I did do my research on it. The guy, you know, started thinking of the concepts as far as the colors he wanted to put together in 77. He put it out for the 78 Gay Pride Parade in San Francisco. That was the date when it was actually officially accepted as the symbol for the lesbian, gay, and whatever, that whole community. That was when it was officially accepted. But the colors and the flag motif had been embraced by the gay society long before that. The sister had made the play and the book in 74 and 75, and the flag had already been introduced to the society and had already been embraced.
She was married, and surely by the subject matter in her poems, the plays, the movie, it insinuates she's dealt with men. Is she hooked up with a woman today? Who knows? but we do know she dealt more so with men.
I mean, I'm not really quite sure what you're trying to get at there. I mean, okay, sure she was married, sure she dealt with men. We know that. We know that the majority of lesbian females have previously had relationships with men. So detailing the fact that she was married and whatnot doesn't really negate the fact that she became a part of the lesbian community. In my story, or in my video, I actually put that she had been married, got a divorce, was depressed and suicidal after her divorce. So, you know, explaining that her stories were written about her trials and tribulations and male relationships, I mean, that just lends to the notion that she became lesbian because she was tired of dealing with those negative relationships.
Most of her books are based on women issues, not lesbian issues. She even has stories for children. None of them pertain to homosexuality. I find it entertaining that most of us probably didn't know who she was, but we know all about her intent.
And yes, she did write a bunch of other stories and children's books, but she also did a lot of lesbian type stories. She's actually known by the lesbian literary community as being one of the foremost authors that represents the lesbian community. Her along with your girl Alice Walker, who wrote The Color Purple. So, you know, yes, she can write things in other genres and things about different issues, but the fact still remains that she is one of their top notable authors, and they look to her works more so than anybody else. They look to her, Alice Walker, Audre Lorde, and a various amount of other women who actually wrote all different types of literature, just like an author, a male author would, etc. But they are held in high esteem amongst their lesbian sisterhood. It is what it is. And as far as the sister's intent with her story in my video, I did say that sure, she was probably just a black woman who had particular issues in her life and began to write about them in the story and the play. I said that I didn't think that she was part of any conspiracy, or I was not trying to allude to that. The point though is the fact that these two particular stories, The Precious and then the For Colored Girls joint, were put out in a consecutive manner, and the timing that they were done by Hollywood, Tyler Perry, and the individuals involved was specifically ordained to elicit a specific type of response within the black female in America. That's why it was done. The timing of these movie releases and the fact that they were released consecutively was intentional by the people involved in making these movies.
Check this out. We have a movie written about women issues. Somehow, the majority of video responses to the movie and its topic has been overlooked. It has turned into something about TP movie making style and Oprah sexuality, male bashing, the propaganda agenda. And then I have not as of yet come across a video that specifically focused on the issues of the black women in the movie. We're out there, we exist.
Absolutely 100% I feel as though women's issues are being overlooked. However, these movies were put out under the guise of being concerned with women's issues in order to get women to go along with what the movie was trying to promote. Now, if you say you've seen all of these videos and they're all based on the agenda of the movie makers and the title, and no videos are really being made to address the women's issues per se, you're right. I haven't seen too many either. But what I will say is that since you yourself have a voice and you have noticed it, then maybe you should be the one who blazes that trail and begins to make a few videos addressing these women's issues in the movies, so that yes, you could go ahead and redirect the conversation to what should be the focus, and that is the women's issues. But with all of that said, we can't ignore the fact that women's issues are being used as the tool to manipulate the minds of these women. So they're using these women's issues to manipulate you guys. They know what hits home with you. They'll use this and then say, hey, do this now. But they're not psychologically analyzing you and helping you all work through these issues. They're just saying, since you have these issues, then go about your life this way from now on.
Black men, do help me out with this. How is it possible that you rant about the over-exaggeration of Hollywood, the black male bashing, only when it consists of a black woman being abused by him? But you turn a blind eye to the same kind of bashing when a non-black paints you as a thug, gangster, gangbanger, drunk, rapist, white woman junkie, broken English talking, bank robber, cross-dressing, jive turkey.
Well, you know, actually, in my two videos that I made, the first two, I addressed the fact that black people, black men and black women, are being bashed by the Tyler Perry movies. And if you look around at people who actually address films and not just the black male bashing sect, those black guys that all want to stick together and be part of some type of He-Man Woman Haters Club, if you look at the other videos that are not put out by them, you will notice that black men like me are addressing the fact that Hollywood is degrading black people as a whole. And another part of the problem is you'll see women come out of the woodwork when you hear these black men and making these videos that bash black women, or the fact that we're talking about a movie that happens to have black women being abused, so black women will jump out there in defense of black women, which is great. But I'll flip your comment around and say, how come we never see any black women coming to the defense of black men that are depicted in these roles, the ones that you just explained about? You even chuckled a little bit at the end when you described how we were being portrayed. How come we don't see any black women coming out against those roles that show black men in a negative light or black women in a negative light? How come we don't see enough black women, period, speaking against anything that is put out against black people, period? That's the problem. If you have a problem with the voice that black men are getting via YouTube, the internet, etc., then you also need to have a problem with the fact that there is a lack of black female voices that can speak out on the topics of black community. And in the same aspect, we'll hear them protecting black womanhood on camera, but the majority of the black females we know don't like black women and don't even get along with black women. We have tons of black men that'll come and speak out about all black issues, anything under the sun. But the only time we'll hear a black woman speaking out is when she wants to come against the videos bashing black women. Absolutely, she should come against the videos bashing black women. But she should also come against the videos bashing black men. And we also need black women that are standing up and addressing the issues that are bashing black community as a whole. If we had more of those type of black women leaders, then we'd see an entire shift of this whole black consciousness, black community, black love, black progression type of thing that we're trying to get kicked off. But the fact that it's pretty much male driven should show you why it's stagnant and it's not going anywhere. I mean, we need each other to do this thing. I'm going to end this video with a little clip of a white woman giving her take on what's going on in America right now. And she's pretty much just giving her opinion from what she's seen. And listen closely to what the woman says, because her small little rant is going to give you the information that implicates both black men and black women and their roles that we have played to assist the divide and conquer. I don't have to say it. A black woman doesn't have to say it. Let's see what they see from us.
Why do you want the signatures, you fucking nigger thief? You want me to lock you up for life, you asshole? Give me my stiff shit back.
Ma'am.
And I'm not prejudiced, but right now I'm getting real pissed off.
Ma'am, why are you calling me names? I mean, I'm just delivering your bill.
Because you're acting like a nigger. Now give me the cards back.
I mean,
I am not slapping you. Don't. Maybe your wife slapped you.
Listen.
Try to educate They're with the Hitler-esque people. They're with the white people. They work against black men underneath it all.